Indiana Jones, It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. The Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute, the daily podcast in which we celebrate and discuss the film Raiders of the Lost Ark 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Jerry Porter.
And I'm Jamie Benning.
Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you. Well, thanks for inviting me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so are we. You have an intimate knowledge of this movie. Do you want to explain why you're here and what your awesomeness is?
Sure. Well, back in 2006, I decided to embark on these projects that I call filmumentaries, where I kind of collate and curate all of the best making of material that I can find on a particular film. Back then, it was The Empire Strikes Back. And then in 2012, if my memory serves, I did Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I called it Raiding the Lost Ark. Clever title, huh?
Yeah, well, we're excited to have you here, and you're going to be a big help helping us figure out minute 86, which begins with Indy ramming the gun jeep off of the road, and it ends with Indy seeing in the rearview mirror the soldiers climbing towards him on the sides of the truck.
So at the very beginning, when Indy rams the machine gun car, or gun jeep, I like that, Tommy. Gun jeep. I didn't know that was a thing.
I think I made it up.
I made up machine gun car. When he runs
10.
that off the road, and it looks and it sounds like the driver yells out "Scheisse." And I don't know, maybe you can help us with this here, Pete. That's a swear word, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do we need to like Wilhelm scream that out, or?
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
And only in Germany.
Well, what's weird about it is, as I was looking at that, does it look like he says Scheisse, or does it look like he says the English version? You could almost convince me that he's saying like that the actor is, and that they filled it in with Scheisse later on.
Yeah, I'm guessing the stunt guy was American anyway. So
Yeah.
Well, I have just a general question. Is that a swear word? Like, is it the same as saying or is it the same as saying, like, crap?
I think
that's a good question.
It's the same as saying actually, because I work in the TV industry, and we have worked on sports where we've done replays of people saying Scheisse, and it's the same as doing a replay of somebody saying in reaction to a sporting event. So, I would say it's the same thing.
I wonder if I can just bleep the first time we say Scheisse, and then just so people know what we're talking about, and then bleep every other one or something. I don't know. We'll see.
And then I kind of wonder, just in general, as I've progressed through life, like, is that in the last several decades, has the word become less offensive? Because it was a big deal if somebody said it when I was 10.
They seem to get a lot of them into PG-13 movies these days.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I watched Back to the Future recently with my kids who are 8 and 10. And then we watched Super 8 just the other night, and that seems to hark back to those Spielbergian times. And, of course, the Goonies as well. I think within the first couple of minutes, we have one of the characters shouting multiple times. So I grew up on the TV versions of these movies, where they would cut out the swear words because they were on the afternoon showing at 3:00. So it came as a bit of a shock when I showed my young kids these movies recently.
Well, I have a bet that by the end of this podcast episode, I'll say and Tommy won't even bleep it out.
There's too many. I can't. I'm going to run out of sounds.
I think
I like too that Jamie, before we started recording, you were like, "Okay, I'll try not to swear," and then our first note is about Scheisse.
Yeah, I took my lead from you.
First mistake.
Right, we led you astray. We're all going to get in trouble now. Oh, and by the way, just one last one. Spock says in the newest Star Trek movie. So it's hopeless now.
Yeah.
It's just
the culture has gone straight to the gutter.
Yeah.
It means nothing. It means nothing to any of us. Hey, I was wondering, watching this, the guy with the machine gun, I wondered if originally there was any point where, because you guys I'm sure have discussed this, where Toht was originally going to have a machine gun built into a mechanical arm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wondered as I was watching this scene back if it was to be him that was going to be shooting. But I think that idea was reprised in Captain America, wasn't it? I think the second one. There was a guy with a mechanical machine gun arm. That was Joe Johnson, of course, who has links to Lucas and
that's true
and co. So
and I think in the Rinsler, in the making of book, I think there's concept art of Toht in a car shooting that arm.
Yeah, like a pencil drawing kind of thing.
Yeah.
That would have been a very James Bond type of thing to do.
Yeah.
Like a bad guy with a mechanical arm, chasing sort of like the enforcer with like a neat gadget.
We let's face it, we prefer him with his coat hanger.
Oh yeah. What we call around here the tote hanger.
Oh, we do?
I see what you did there.
We totally should call it that if we don't. Yeah, that's Toht's gone through a lot of changes through the different versions of the story and the screenplay and everything, because almost everything except for the movie has him going off the cliff in that car.
Well, I was going to say that's a big, that like in the novelization of this scene, Toht goes over the side, and when you, at least in the beginning of this minute, look what everybody's wearing in the Jeep. Like there are two guys, the Gobler's in there. He's wearing a kind of a well-fitting green uniform. There's a guy in the back seat wearing kind of a nice fitting green uniform, and there's the machine gunner with that kind of khaki colored short sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
And then when you watch the Jeep go over the cliff, it looks like there's a guy wearing a black coat.
Oh, you're kidding.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
And that cliff scene as well, there's two versions of that. There's when they broadcast the film in HD over here in the UK, and I think in the US as well, they redid the cliff with CGI, and it has slightly more depth to it. You see as the kind of planes change as it sort of pans down. But I think that's on the Blu-ray as well now.
Why is that not a knife in my gut? That's such a special edition type redo thing that should make me sick to my stomach. Why doesn't that make me sick to my stomach that they did that?
Because it's not that obvious.
Okay, good.
I'm watching this on loop now to see the black coat. It hasn't quite got to the
I am too.
Yeah.
But there's Jabba the Hutt in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
Boba
Fett stares at the camera. Yeah.
Well, that cliff was something that I was wondering about, because I was like, that has a real Grand Canyon. I mean, that is a hell of an abyss.
Right.
And I so I actually looked up what's the highest point in Egypt, and it winds up being a place called Mount Catherine, which is 8,625 feet, which is somewhere around the 2,300 meters I feel like the rest of you smart guys who do that stuff out there don't put it in feet. But they're nowhere near that place. And so I wondered, we're going through a lot of different scapes here.
Right.
Yeah.
Huge cliffs, and then, nice desert foliage, kind of like, hey, that could be like next to the mall almost.
Yeah.
It's the oasis. It's the oasis. It's the Tibetan landscape. I mean, they've been driving for some time.
Yeah.
It's apparently a 3-week walk that they're driving.
You're right about the black coat, by the way. I can see the guy in the black coat now. Yeah.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, he's in the comic book, too. In the comic book, he goes off the cliff.
And I'm wondering if, like, they had seen, like, when they wrote the comic or they wrote the novelization, if they had seen a rough cut of the film and seen just that happen, and, maybe that's Toht, or...
Yeah.
If they just made it up.
It's weird sometimes the way things in comics just slip through because of these early cuts. Of course, growing up, seeing some of the big scene in the Marvel comic, Star Wars, and Nova being pregnant in the Planet of the Apes comic in the UK, which wasn't in the movie because they got rid of it. It's quite striking sometimes how different they can be.
Yeah.
But And that's really a grandiose exit for just the machine gunner.
And Gobler. Come on.
Yeah, well, yeah, and Gobler, true, but
I actually didn't realize that was Gobler.
Yeah.
I want to have a moment of silence or something.
He doesn't take it very well, though. Like, he just kind of, the way he flings his hands over his eyes.
Big baby.
You don't really register who it is, right? There's just more murder, basically.
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't know if I could pick Gobler out of a lineup even without his goggles on, but I still feel bad. He had a name and a line.
Yeah,
I decided, hey, we need more melted faces at the end. Let's keep Tote in the movie.
Yeah, I do want to know what the decision-making process was. If they were like, no, he's so evil and he's so hated by now, we got to give him a better exit, a better comeuppance.
Maybe they saw the effect and thought, you know what, we should keep him in. Keep him in the cut.
I, for one, and I'm surprised that I'm saying this, but I'm actually glad Toad is still alive. I mean, right now. Now. Yeah, I'm glad he didn't, that wasn't his exit.
Why? Because you like his exit better, his actual exit? Or you just love Toad?
Well, no, I don't love Toad. I mean, I
You admit that?
I'm just glad he's alive now. All right, look, it's a sadistic comment. I'm sorry. I don't know. Yes, I want Toad to have a worse death than just sort of this,
plummet.
Yeah, than just the plummet, although I suppose horrifying in its own way.
Yeah.
At least, it's probably worse to have your face melted.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that.
I mean, the last thing, because Gobler, at least, and he did prevent himself from this by covering his eyes, but it would have been a beautiful sight on the way down.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly a vista.
Maybe each of those guys had a sort of moment, like halfway down. They were like, you know what? There's nothing I can do about this. I'm going to just appreciate the moment.
Yeah. And as opposed to having your cheeks cascade past your lips down to your chest. Yeah.
We wouldn't want to go like that. I mean, we all dream of that.
It's sort of the opposite of a beautiful vista.
Right. Well, my eyes have melted. I can't appreciate the vista.
Talking about sadistic, though, we've got a couple more instances of Indy grinning and laughing after people are dying.
Yeah, he's having a little too much fun.
As he pushes the guys with the motorbike and sidecar, he looks very pleased with himself. Flashing that toothy grin again.
Right. He looks good as he's killing all these people. I'm wondering, the guy in the back, who I guess is in charge, sends two guys out the back on each side of the truck. And I'm trying to figure out what the end game is supposed to be with that. Like, if they all storm Indy at the same time, like I'm thinking it would have been better to just send one guy at a time, maybe.
But see, I think this was a training scenario because the way he kind of sends it, they're all, okay, men, this is Ark Rumpus truck theft scenario on page 32 discussed Thursday. Because he just kind of points and they all, okay, yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
But there is that one guy in the back who's really upset about having to go through it. Like, there is one guy and he's kind of like, oh, God, on page, not the exercise from page 32. The art,
He knows that's my weak one.
Yeah, yeah. I did so well on the chin-ups.
There's like that 10-frame shot of one of the guys in the mirror. The first guy you see he's like, I've got a gun. He shows you, I've got a gun, in just about 10 frames. But he doesn't look very happy.
I feel like Indy is just racking up points, with the motorcycle. Like, and he gives him kind of a nice little bump.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really commensurate with the damage that it causes.
Well, I think that's why he's having fun with it. He's like, all I got to do is bip with this big truck, and those guys are out.
He's just padding his high score.
Exactly. Easy points.
I don't know if this is this rises to our level of dream evidence, but the guys climbing on the outside of the truck, their hats look almost exactly like the Imperial officer hats.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, with a little flap up the back and the side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe they just left them out in the sun to get that kind of sun washed.
Bleached, acid washed look.
Yeah.
We have all these leftover hats from Empire. What do we do with them?
Right.
They did reuse something from Empire Strikes Back at the start of Raiders. They brought out the kind of this plant that hangs over, and all the webs and stuff as they enter the cave at the start of the movie.
Yeah,
that was used on the Dagobah set. It's a particular, I can't remember the name. It's in one of my filmumentaries. Please go and visit. But yeah, they brought that out, and it's probably running riot through Tunisia now.
Wait, it's a plant that they brought there to. And that creates those webs.
It's called old man's beard or something. It's called like.
Oh right. That's crazy.
I feel like this is like with Jamie here. It's kind of like shooting hoops with the Globetrotters. we just.
Hey, listen. I can do facts. Funny facts, not so good.
Old man's beard is pretty.
It's amazing, man. It's fantastic.
I had another thing written in my notes here about the Nazi cars that are being used in this scene. I always think that the guy who drove, there were two of them. One was shipped, one was driven from the UK. And I always think of him just off camera, thinking, I've driven this all the way here and you're about to bump it up the fender. Please don't ruin it. There are only two of them.
I got it all the way here from London, spotless. And now look at it. That'd be a great job, by the way. I'd love to have that job. Here, you get in this car in London and just drive it down to Tunisia. That's your whole job.
They were from Coventry in the UK. They're called Leaping Cats Cars.
Wow.
Really?
That's the company?
They were Jaguar specialists.
Wow.
Jaguar, as you guys would say.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah, put everything in feet. None of this meters nonsense. But that the sidecar was a common vehicle for Nazis in World War II, was it not?
As we know from Last Crusade, absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. I can never see those without seeing Batman, the old Batman, the Adam West Batman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. I think I still have the Corgi version of that in my.
Oh, that's awesome! I just got really excited.
It's like a treasure trove up there.
Awesome.
So do you think these guys are doing the kind of pincer movement here, and they're going to, all four of them are going to throw Indy through the windscreen? Is that the plan?
See, that's what I don't get. Like, at best, two of those guys could take on Indy at once. Just given the moving truck and the small cab and everything. Like, I don't get why they had to send four guys at once.
See, I just think they know some of those guys aren't going to make it, so we'll just send as many as we've got.
I guess so. Yeah.
I'm assuming this Mercedes diesel truck didn't have screen wash, because that windscreen really needs a wipe.
It's getting gross.
Yeah.
You know what they should have done? The first wave of guys, their first job should have been to take out the rearview mirrors on the side, because that's what messed them up.
Well, that's a good point.
Or the tire, if you're next to a precipice.
That's true. Why do we have to think of all this stuff?
Those windshield wipers are pretty cool, though. They're like, they only wash half of the windshield.
I guess that's all you need.
Like a split windshield, and it just washes the top half.
Oh, it looks like does it fold down maybe for some reason?
Are they bifocal?
Yeah, in case you want to see the hood really clearly.
Well, best part of this whole chase sequence is that Belloc is forced to watch from the back of a convertible. And he can just, he has a great view of everything, 180 degrees, because he's looking behind him. And, as we said, Indy's just kind of picking apart the entire Nazi brigade there. And there's nothing Belloc can do.
Yeah. I'm just realizing in any other movie, Belloc would 100% be like diving on the front of the truck and like getting into this whole thing.
Yeah.
Which I don't need. That's fine that he's just sitting there pissed off.
It's a really expensive suit he's wearing.
Oh yeah, he's not going to get it dirty.
Yeah.
He'd at least take off the jacket.
He's gonna like pay somebody else or have, to be, here, remember the money I gave you? Now go dive on the hood.
This is the guy, remember, who only handles artifacts once the other guy has wiped it clean. So he's just had his nails done.
Yeah. Let's be reasonable.
Also, thinking of Paul Freeman, I think this sequence in total, this whole chase sequence was 6 to 8 weeks. So he spent 6 to 8 weeks turning round.
God, yeah, I think about that. Just seeing those guys in that open convertible, just like, God, how do they not get completely sunburned? Just from sitting there for weeks and weeks.
Well, the driver is just burnt to a crisp. He's like tomato red.
Right, he is. Idiot. Spoilers. Well, do you have anything else for minute? God, what is this? 86?
86.
Wow. Well, in that case, Jamie, could you tell us where can people find your awesome filmumentaries? And how many have you done?
I've done 5 full lengths. So I did Empire Strikes Back first, then Return of the Jedi. Then I went to Star Wars, the original Star Wars. I don't call it A New Hope. It's Star Wars.
Of course not.
And then I did Raiding the Lost Ark. And then I did Inside Jaws. But
incredible.
Since then, I've been doing some shorter ones. I did one about Biggs. I did one about Jabba. I did one about Yoda. Did one about Back to the Future. So yeah, if people want to have a look at them, they're at filmumentaries.com. They're also on vimeo.com under filmumentaries. And I'm on Twitter as well at JamieSWB.
They're really incredible because you just incorporate in, you basically show the movie and then just like gently interrupt it with all this background stuff. It's incredible.
Yeah, I just always like the idea of seeing it all in context, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you snap back to a talking head, it kind of takes you out of it. And
right.
I like the idea of just having the interviews sort of flow with the story of the film.
Yeah, they're pretty brilliant.
Thank you.
As fans, we thank you.
You're welcome.
Pete, where can all of our fans get in touch with us to thank us for all the awesome things that we do? Come on. Make it happen.
Come find us on Facebook. We have a special page, Indiana Jones Minute and a Listener's Crusade. And if you go to our website, indianajonesminute.com, you can find us there. And we have a special section called The Library, including a link to Jamie's Raiding the Lost Ark filmumentary. And if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's really, we use it every week for our show, and I think you should definitely check it out.
Actually, don't watch it because then you'll realize we're totally pikers who just ripped him off. Totally relied on his hard work. We're the Belloc of Raiders of the Lost Ark fandom. But please come back tomorrow for minute 87. Jamie, can you come back tomorrow?
I think so, yeah.
Excellent. And we will cover minute 87 of Raiders of the Lost Ark here on the Indiana Jones Minute. Shize up!
Insert Wilhelm scream.